Wonderful. Okay, well, today we are building with Harper. So let's go ahead and get to this. Today, we are going to build a simple to do application. So a full stack, something simple and full stack with the Harper, with the Harper platform. So let's dive into this. Now let's see here. Let's do VJS. Let's get started and actually build this out. No, we'll use npm and we'll use vanilla types. So we'll use the vanilla TS template. So let's see, terminal. We'll do the live stream. There should be live stream repos. All right. And let's see here. We're going to npm create the latest, but for templates, I can't remember. Let's take a look here. I think it's the template type. So create, actually, I think it's actually, we'll just do v latest if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. Yep. Project name, we'll say to do app or Harper to do app. And we'll use vanilla. Let's see here. And then we'll use, let's see here, vanilla JavaScript. Use roll down V. Let me zoom in here because I think y'all can't see that. So let's take a look. Use roll down V. Let's do no this time. Let's just do no. And let's go and start this with npm. All right. Sweet. And let's just make sure this works. 5173. Let's go here. All right. Oh, looks like that works. All right, cool. Now let's go ahead and open this up in VS Code. Okay. And also make sure I'm checking live stream the chats as well. Trust the author. Yes, I am the author. Da, 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 da. Okay, now that we have this, let me zoom in as well on this. Able to see that. Counter main source type. Okay. I'm actually going to go and take some inspiration from. Let's see here. Let's look at front end mentor. I'm actually going to take. Let's look at challenges here. I'm going to take an inspiration from a one of their projects for this. I think they have to do. Yep, there it is. Okay, gotcha. Let's take inspiration from this one. Okay. Got that. Create a new to do. Okay. Let's do that. Okay, sweet. So something similar to this. So we're gonna make this full stack with Harper. So all right, now first bit is let's go ahead and set this all up. So what we'll be using is we are actually going to be remove this from our app. We're going to remove this as well. Remove all of this right here. We'll keep that. Save that. Let's see. And we've got our app here. It's great. We'll actually remove that. We'll call this main. We'll have our main. I think it's what header right there if we need that, and then our main, and then we'll have things in here. Let's set up a tailwind, and also after we set up tailwind, I'm going to set up. Let's see here with V. Install tailwind. Let's go ahead and install tailwind. Let's see, was it command tilde? I think it was, or control tilde. Yep. And we'll close this. I definitely don't need Chat GPT or Copilot. See here. All right, that's been installed. Next up, we've got to import this in our vconfig file. We don't have one, so I think we're going to have to create one. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'll have to create one. What is it? Vfig.ts, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, it is. Go ahead and copy that here, and let me make sure that there's no other. Yeah, okay, gotcha. So we now have our v config and our CSS file, which is the styles. I'm going to remove all of this, and we're going to import Tailwind. Okay, and then if we're done with that, we're going to take this main.ts, save that. We don't need that there. Go inside our index, and we'll import that. So slash link. Oh, well, that's perfect. Let me make sure that it's actually we're actually doing this accurately. Let's see here, source yeah, slash style.css, and then let's test this out just to make sure we're good. Do this the do app. Okay, now that we are doing this, let's do a quick test here. So we'll do a class. What was it? Text. Yeah, 2XL and then underline. I always do underline, and then let's see testing. And I don't think we're not running it. So I'll just go ahead and I'll leave that be. We'll actually just, no, I'll leave that be right there. And then we'll do an npm run dev here. V at this point should be properly configured. Let's take a look. And there it is. Okay, wonderful. Sweet. So we do get that. We are able to get our styles and everything. So V is now properly configured. Let's go ahead and set up our, go and set up Harper. So I know there's several things that we need here. We need to get our schema, spell schema, right? GraphQL, let's see, we have our schema.graphql, our resource or resources? I can't remember. I think it's resources.js. Oh, I don't think we'll need our resources.js, but we can add that. And let's see here. Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and add that. And I think we'll call it TS for the time being. Should be just fine. Clarification on that. But yeah, should be just fine. And then let's see here. So we also need our config YAML. So we'll need to set up our configuration. So config YAML as well. And well, I have Harper installed locally. So this is what I'll do here. I am going to, let's see here, set up also eventually set up our environment as well, but not too crazy. Let's see here. Let me just make sure Harper runs as well. So Harper run. Actually, let's see Harper 4.7.3. Kind of hard to see this. Was a little bit zoomed in. Let's see. Let's go to localhost 9925. Making sure we can log into Studio. Perfect. Oh, we have something here. I'll go ahead and delete that. All right. Well, perfect. All right. So we're able to log in. Now that we have that, I'm going to just bring that over here for the time being on a different screen. So we should be good. And yeah, we should be good. So yeah, so I guess I'll just I'll leave that there for the time being. I'll close this now that we have that. You know what? Let me go and bring that back. Let's bring that back actually. Let's take a look here. So let's bring that back fast. And we'll also have this here. So let's go ahead and get started here. So the first bit that I'm going to do is let's actually define our. So I'm actually going to take a more data approach first, or whatnot. Designing how our backend is going to look, or everything of that manner. Then we'll look at the UI and everything. But for now, I'm actually going to design like the schema and everything. So first bit is going to create our schema, or specifically our schema. So the table, and then also like everything, all the attributes inside the table. So the first thing we're going to do here is go inside our schema.graphql. What this will do is when we deploy our application, um, We will then be able to, within our schema GraphQL, we'll define our table, define our attributes, and then when we deploy our application, Harper will take our schema GraphQL file, and it'll take a look at it and say, oh, hey, this is the table name, and these are the attributes inside the table, right? These are these types, and it'll automatically create that table um, within our database essentially. So database will be again created if there isn't already one, and then once that's created, it'll take a look at our schema, create the table and all the attributes, and then also on top of that, what we'll do here, or what Harper will do, is it will also um, it should, when we do an at export, it'll generate all the APIs necessary for us to interact with the table and its attributes. So what I'm going to do here is do type. We're going to call this type, this table, say to do list. We're going to have to define that it is a table. So at table, and okay, well, thank you. I kind of want to turn Copilot off. I'm not the biggest fan of when I'm like trying to code. Let's see here. Let's see, Copilot. That's Copilot chat. Let me just disable. How do I disable this? Let's see here. Let's just disable Copilot if we can. Okay. Restart extension. Um, okay, it should be. I should be good. Should be good. Okay, we'll see. All right. Well, let's see. Yeah. So table, and then inside that table, we're going to have an ID. This ID is going to be have a type of ID, and that's going to be our primary key. Next up, we want to give our to-dos a status. So that status can be either active or completed, right? I would say in progress or something like that, but we'll just say active and completed. So status, we give it a status, and then that's going to be a string. And then at that, I'm trying to think here, we'll have to index that. Last but not least, we'll then have a description. And that's also going to be a string. And so at this point, we should be good. And then that's going to be our table. Our table's name is going to be to-do list. The attributes are going to be ID, status, and description. And then in order for us to sort of have this interact with our UI, we're actually going to do an at export. So what this does is that this automatically creates the REST endpoints that are necessary for us to, again, as I said before, interact with this table and its attributes. So this is really nice. We have this all built out. Um, now I need to set up the configuration file. So what we'll have to do here is that we'll have to go to our config YAML, and then once we're inside our config YAML, let's see here. Looking. All right, so yeah, let me go and set this up. So nothing so far, which is nice. So, you know, ask away. If y'all have any questions? Um, let's see here. So what we'll do here in our config YAML is we'll set, hey, REST is to true. So this provides the HTTP REST interface for all the exported resources. So we're saying, hey, um, like, yeah, when we export um, REST interface, um, anything using at export, essentially. Next one is going to be the graph. We need to actually point to our GraphQL schema. So we need to actually define that. So graph, in fact, what I'll do here, because I know I'm probably going to mess this up, let's go to Harper fast. And I'm going to reference the docs. Here we are. And let's take a look here. So let's do the config. Yeah, an example config YAML. Let's see here. Not the one I'm looking for. Hmm. Our applications. Okay. Other things within there. YAML. Hmm. What about GraphQL schema? Hmm. Let's see. API. Let's take a look here. Hold up. Mm, Path. Okay, I see. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is what we need to do. So GraphQL schema here, and then here we'll have to point to the file. So files. Let me make sure I have this right here as well. So I'll have to. So it is top level, so we should be just fine. So files, and then it should just be the schema GraphQL, and then next up, what we'll need is we have our JS resource, which is the whole resources.ts. Uh, we don't need it for this specific example, so we should be just fine. But we can add it. But yeah, we won't need it. But I'll just go ahead and add it, and that should be if I can spell resource. There we go. And then file as well, or files, and that should be the .ts. I'm going to change it to JS because I know typically I have it as a JS, but it should be just fine. But again, we keep it as is, and then static, where all of our files will be deployed to in. So specifically, I think what in Vite, everything goes to like a dist folder. So all our static, everything when it's when we do a Harper or when we do a Vite build, all the files build into a dist folder, and so by default with Vite. So what we'll do here is we'll do dist slash star star. Um, so the star star recursively, if I'm not mistaken, just between star and star star, very minor thing, is that star star should essentially go through like the entirety of like all the folders and all the files within the dist folder. So star just I think does a top level, but star star picks up on everything and all the descendants essentially of the dist folder. So and anything in between. So that should be good at this point. We now have our config. We have our resources.js. I mean, again, we won't need it for this specific example when we're building out this application, but everything inherently should be here. We're going to save this and let's actually go ahead and try to let's go ahead and try to build this out. And let's just make sure things are good. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up another terminal, and we're going to open this one right here. And here, I'm going to do several things. One, I'm going to do an npm run build, just so we can build our application in our dist. And then we'll do a Harper deploy. So Harper to do app has been successfully deployed. We should open up now. If we go into our local instance of Harper, boom, it's all right here. So everything is here, everything's deployed. And now if we go inside our database, as I stated before, our to-do list is here, or the to-do list table is here, and then along with all the attributes we defined within our schema. So yeah, as I said, again, if we take a look here, we go back, we see that, hey, we have our table, which we defined as to-do list. Again, it's a table. And then we also have all of our attributes inside that table. So ID, status, description. If we go back here, and let me make sure, I'll zoom in a bit as well. But if we take a look here, we'll see that we have ID, description, and status. If we decide to add a new record, which we can do inside Harper, let's go and do that. Let's set a status to active, right? And then the description will say testing the app, or testing the yeah, we'll say testing the app, right? So if we save changes here, we'll see that we've now officially added a new record. We didn't have ID here because, um, again, ID will be essentially auto generated, so we don't have to, you know, we don't have to do anything now. If we wanted to manually add it, or we can, and we can specify its value. But for the most part, I'm going to let Harper handle all that for us. So again, we've created our first record just for the sake of things. And also, last but not least, not only create the table and the attributes, we also have the at export. And this at export here, if we go to, I think it is, let me zoom out real quick. I think it should be this one. Yes, APIs. We'll see that everything in regards to our to-do list, it's all here. So again, post, if we want to get all the items from our to-do list, we can. We do have like an example. If I click execute, there should be an example fetch call. Here it is right here. I do need to add 9926. So let's go here and let's do localhost 9926. Let's do. Hold up, wait a minute. All right. No, not from the closed database. Let me make sure I'm let's see, cannot renew a transaction from a closed date. Okay, let's my bad. Let me go ahead and let me restart Harper real quick. So we have this. I'm gonna go ahead and just restart the instance. Should take anything like just a bit, like probably like 10, 15, maybe 15 seconds or so. 60 at the most. So as you can see down here, but instance restarted. Now let's go to localhost 9926 slash to-do list. And boom, there we go. Okay. So we actually have our, again, these are the records, the array of records, or I mean, again, we only have um, one record inside of our, like inside our table. But if we wanted to add more, we absolutely can. So let's go ahead and do that real quick as well, just to test things out, So status, we'll say complete or completed. And then let's see here. We'll say, I know I need to like make dinner. So we're just gonna, again, because I actually do need to do that today. So make dinner, save this, boom, complete it, generate it. Let's go ahead and refresh here. We should see that as well, and we do. So, which is really nice. Now, if we wanted to specify specifically, like I want to access this specific, like, this status and description from this ID, we can do exactly that. If we go back to our APIs here, we got the entirety of like our to-do list table. That's great. But if we want to get like the information from a specific record, right, we can actually just do like the table slash ID. So if we go back here and I do this and I copy and paste, let me make sure I paste this properly. Yep, 96. Press enter. We've now gotten the information, like that specific record. So the status, the description, and also the ID for the specific record here. I think we're able to do that very simply with Harper. So all the APIs that we need for this to-do app, if we want to put like, which is updating, right? We want to do like we want to use a put to update, delete, even the if we want to delete the delete everything itself, we can. Or if we want to delete even like an ID, right? We can do or delete a specific record. We can do all of that, right? So yeah, all that's here. Now that's all been like generated for us. Typically would take a long time, but thankfully it doesn't now. Let's go ahead and let's do something simple here. Let's go back to our UI and let's go ahead and call it. Now, several things I'm going to have to do here is one, I'm going to have to create for the sake of things, simplicity, I'm actually going to create a proxy essentially. So let's see what I'll do here. Right under plugins, I'm going to define a server uh, object, and inside the server object, we're going to define a proxy. We're going to proxy this endpoint, and let me make sure I'm doing this right. Let me go to the let's see here, proxy server.proxy here. So, okay, we've got this. Okay, let's utilize this. So target. So what we're gonna do here, essentially, we want whenever we do like slash API, again, we're on localhost, but we want if we go to 9926, we want to have this like have whatever we have like point specifically to Harper. So for Vite in particular, because I need to build out a plugin for us, I'm just going to proxy to like the operations API. So if we do slash API here, let's see here. So proxy slash API is what we're going to call it. So anytime we do like a fetch slash API, this is what's going to happen. The target essentially is going to be Um, Localhost. Let me actually go ahead and pull this from here. Um, yeah, let's see, localhost 9926. So that is what we're going to point to. Wonderful. And then after that, change origin, true, and then rewrite the path. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not the okay. Yeah, so I'm just gonna use this. Totally gonna use this. So anytime we call, like, let's say whenever we're fetching something, we do like a, again, as I said, fetch. In our API or whatever we want to point to, we do slash API or slash API, anything like that. It's going to replace that with essentially what we have here. So I'm going to, yeah, replace API with, it's going to replace it with this. So our target. So if we save that, now we should have that properly configured. Now at this point, let's just go ahead and test this out. So if I do a simple fetch, so I'll do slash, let's see here, we'll do a fetch on, let me see, you have any comments? Oh, okay. Best viewer, remove this. Okay, I think we have. Okay, we got a count. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Hmm. Okay. But yeah, so essentially, so if we try to do slash API slash, that's going to point us to essentially this right here. And we're going to do slash to do list, which is the name of the table that we're pointing to. And then from here, um, let's just do a here. Actually, let's just call this fetch to do. So const fetch to do list, or yeah, fetch to do list, async, and then from here, and then from here, once we do that, we're actually going to. Um, I'm just gonna do something really simple here, just to make sure, just to prove a point. To do list. To-do list, and that will be an empty array. And I think what here it'll be a string, an array of strings, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, it's not red. So what we'll do here at this point is we'll just do a do list items equals await fetch slash API. Yeah, cool. Let me see. Yeah, slash API slash do list, which is the name of the table. And then afterwards, we should have a, okay, then we should have a response in JSON, and then that should be good here. And then at the end of this, we should be able to just console log to-do list items. So for the sake of this, now let's go ahead and try this out. Let's see what let's see if we got our to-do list items. So essentially, again, as I said, very similar, doing the very similar thing here. But we're grabbing all the to-do list items from the to-do list table. So let's save this and let's take a look and see if we rid of the fetch. Perfect. And we have our items. Wonderful. So we know that we can actually fetch all of our to-do list items. Now that we have all of this, this is great. We've got some logic down. This is awesome. We're going to leave this as is for the time being. Let's actually just style this up. So let's go inside our index HTML. What we had earlier, let's see here. So this is the fun part. Let's go to front inventory again. I actually want to do, let's see if we do app coding challenge. Let's take a look at this again and try to make this a little bit like this. So, hmm, okay. So something like this. So something relatively similar. So what we'll do here is Inside of this header, we'll have a div. Inside this div, we're going to have an H1. This H1, we're going to call it to do. Let's see here. Now that we have this, we are going to do several things. Let's see if there are any comments here. All right, no new comments. All right, no new comments. All right, so in this header class, now what we're going to want to do here is, I'm going to want to, well, first off, let's go ahead and try to get this entire, let's get this stuff centered actually in the middle. So what we'll do here, oh man, the joy of centering and vertically aligning a div. Let's see if we can do this right. I'm going to set the min height to screen. The background again should be good. We're let's make it gray. In fact, hmm, work on that in a bit. Let's see here. So yeah, so let's see. So min height screen. Let's go to class. We'll do a flex. Um, justify center, and then we're going to align middle. And then here, we're going to set the max width. What do we want to set the max width to? Let's do a full here. And then here, I'm actually going to set the, let's just have some fun here. So text, we'll do like a 3XL. And I think we could do tracking. What was it? Should we do normal? I'm trying to think here. So tracking normal, what is that? That's 0. Let's see here. What's widest? 0, 1. We might want something a little bit more. That looks pretty spaced out. So let's do a tracking, do something custom. So 0 dot, we'll say 3, right? EM, see what that looks like. Inline block. And it's just, okay, so it's not looking, not too far off. Oh, okay. Way too many things open. Let me go ahead and close this up. Boom, close that. It's not bad. Okay, not bad at all. Let's make that a 4. Okay, I like this. I like this. Okay, now that we have this, let's see here. Let's see here. Now that we have this, let's try to center. I guess did that not work? Justify center, align middle, maybe a max width, possibly. Let's say max width of what can we get here? Let's take a look. What is 96? 384 pixels. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so we get a, all right, all right, that works. That's good. That's good. And we probably want to do the same too down here. So in our main, we have this. Let's go ahead and create a section. So this will be a section inside this section. So we're going to do the same exact thing. I'm not even going to try to. Let's see here. So flex, justify center, align middle. Let's do a max width as well too. Width is going to be full with a max width of 96. We may end up having to make this wider. We'll see. We'll see. And then at this point, what we want to do here is let's go and try to style this a bit. So what do we want to do here? So I'll just say for the time being, I'll just do to do items. So to do items, and then under to do items, what we'll do here is we'll create a UL. Yeah, we'll create a UL. I'll give it an ID of list items, but I yeah, let's and then but I kind of want to style that a bit. So yeah, we'll handle that in a bit. So for now, let's try to grab once we fetch it. Let's see what happens here when we grab it and we fetch it and we try to load that. So back to our where's our main? Oh, totally back to our main.ts. So here we are. I'm going to do this here. So several things I actually want to do here. So I want to take a step back and boom, look right here. Okay. Keep looking at myself on the live stream. Um, I actually want to go ahead and add an event listener. So I want to do a document dot add event listener. And I want to say DOM content loaded. So when the contents of the DOM has been loaded, we want to go ahead and have some fun here. Do this. So I'm actually going to squeeze all of this into here. All right. So let's see here. So we're gonna do this. So once the contents of the DOM has been loaded, several things are gonna happen. For one, let's actually just put this here. Oh, I guess we should. For one, let's go ahead and grab. Let's see here. Let's do the list items. So one thing that I think we want to do here is let's go ahead and grab all of the just yeah, grab the elements. We'll grab the element, our UL, our list elements. So what we'll do here is that we'll just call this one a const to-do list. Let's see here. So in our to-do list or to-dos, I guess, I don't know. Let's see. We'll do a document dot query selector. Here is where we will define that query selector. So it's an ID, and that's called list items. And then since we're in TypeScript, we are going to need to define that. So this is a HTML, what is it? UL list element. So it should be, yeah. So UL list element. We do know that it'll be there when we may encounter an error, but we do know for a fact that will be there. So we're putting that exclamation point at the end to let TypeScript know. And now that we have this, let's go ahead and render our to-do list items. So what we'll do here is we are going to let's do something really simple. So we fetch it, we've got it, and now we need to render our to-do list items. So what we'll do here is let's see, const. I'm actually going to create a render to-do list. Let's see if we have anyone here. All right, great. So we're going to render this. So let's go and render this. We're going to pass in here to-dos. I'm actually going to create a type for this one. So uh, let's see, we'll create a type, and that type is going to be to do. And then to do, let's see, just as we had in our schema, we have an ID. That ID, which is essentially in our schema GraphQL, the ID is it's essentially a string. So, I mean, we could even go back here and take a look. The ID is like a string. So, although in GraphQL or in that query language, ID is given like ID, it essentially, if I'm not mistaken, just ends up being a string. So ID string. Next, our description, our status, which is a string as well. And then our actually our status should be either I think was active or completed. And then our description, last one, is a string as well. So just so we have this again, types are fun, types are good. And so now that we have that, let's go back here and let's go ahead and take a look at this, our to-dos. So we want to render our to-do list. And so to render it, what we're going to do here is we are going to see, yeah, let's see to do, and then we have, and I guess we'll have an array of to-dos, which makes sense. Here, I'll do a, let's see, how do I want to do this? Hmm. I should have styled this first. I think let's go back to, I think I'm gonna go back to my index or whatever and style this because trying to do this all in JavaScript, just, right off the rip is gonna be, interesting. So let's see, do I have another, let's see, I have another comment. Okay, no, I don't. All right. Yeah, trying to style this right off the rip would be interesting. So let me just go ahead and pause here on that one. I'm actually going to just go ahead and we're going to save that as is. Yeah, we're going to save that. All right. Um, but for the sake of things, if y'all just want to say, hey, Austin, I want to, see what it looks like, this is what it'll look like. So I can just do a render to do list. We can just, whatever we get back from to do list, which is actually, no, sorry, to-do list items. My goodness, this whole to-dos and stuff like that. Naming variables and cache and validation. Two hardest things in programming. So I may end up having to do a little bit of refactoring. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see something. All right, yeah, an array of strings. So yeah, so we can change that there. So the joy of typing, and of course, I know, it's yelling at me. It's yelling. TypeScript compiler is yelling at me. Okay, yeah. Now that we have this, let's just go ahead and just try to let's render this. So to do list dot. I guess we'll just what map it. Let's take a look here. So we have this. In fact, what I'll do here is let me go ahead and grab that and we're rendering. I'll do that in here actually. So then we'll do a to-do list. We'll call this the UL to do UL element. And I think we'll do a oh gosh, I think here. Hmm. I guess we could do a not the most ideal. So, but for the time being, inner HTML. Mm, mm, how do we want to do this? Oh, we'll probably want to do this then. We'll do a to do data. Where's that to do list items? To do list items dot. We'll map through each one of them. Say to do item. I love programming without AI, man. It's just the joy of actually just sometimes thinking through stuff. Fun. That'll be a. It should auto. It does not. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess it didn't. Huh. Let me actually switch up my music real quick. All right. Hmm. Perfect. Make that lower. All right. Should be good now. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna map through. So each item. So each to do item, we'll do a. We'll just have to append it. So I guess we'll do a to do item. Um, we'll do a to do list items. What is it? Dot append. To do item dot. Man, I'm trying to think here. Append child. I think it is. Da, 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 da. Hold up, let's see. To do ul elements dot append child, and then we'll just do the to do item dot description. Hold up, wait a minute. Let's take a look. String is not assignable to type node. Oh, I guess that would make sense. Yeah, that would totally make sense. Let's see here. So, hmm. I forgot, man. I had not done okay. So used to doing React and everything like that. Give me 1 second, y'all. append child. I think I just have it's a child node, so I think I have to just literally just put it in. I have to create a node. Yeah. So let me just create one. Let's see here. Let's see here. I guess I'll just have to create a const item node. We'll say the document dot create element p. I guess we'll just call it. Let's do it. So p here. Let's see here. Oh, the joy the joy of JavaScript. Item node, and then we'll append. And then okay, let's just see what happens here. Okay, let's see. We've created our so append a child node, and then from here, I think what inside of that I want to say I do a just for the sake of things. I know it's not the most ideal, or inner text. Can't remember off the top of my head, but I think I can do something like that. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I was like, ooh, apparently I forgot how to JavaScript for a split second. All right. So inside our UL, this should actually be a list item. That should be that right there. So let me actually, was that saved and was that refresh? Let's refresh this and let's take a look. Inside our UL, sweet, list items, cool, wonderful. That's all there. Okay, great. Okay, so now that we have our item node, the inner text of that is and the joy of it, no inner HTML. So look at that, lovely. All right. So now that we have our this rendering, let's go ahead and take a moment. I'm going to take a step back and let's actually start styling this a bit. So at this point, we've already gotten it. Again, our API call, very simple, right? We've rendered this and everything. Yeah, we're doing pretty good so far. So yeah, like this a lot, y'all. Okay. Next up, let's actually just go ahead and style this out real quick. I think this will be fun. I love styling, so yeah. So let's go here. So I'm actually just going to go ahead inside this, and I'm just going to go ahead. Yeah, we're just going to style here. So I'm just going to do test item. Yeah, so test items there. Let's do this here. We're going to give it a background of, let's give it a blue. Maybe this. Let's see here. Background blue. Rounded. Medium. Something like. Should be rounded medium, I thought. Should be something like that. Oh, did I spell? I did not spell rounded right. Okay. Okay. Yep. Do a PX of like, let's say 4. Cool. Text is going to be white here. Let's see. It's a PX of that. Let's do PY of like 2 or something. Nothing too crazy. Wonderful. And let's see here. Essentially at this point, let's see. We've got that. That's not looking terrible. So if we actually go ahead and let's go ahead and add this class here. So we've our li. Let's do a item node dot, what is it? Is it class list. I think if we do this or whatnot, that should, yeah. So that's that there. What we'll probably have to do here is we'll have to put some sort of spacing between all of these. So what I could do is, or do I need to put spacing? Let's see here. Hold up now. How do we have that here? Oh, you know what? Let's leave that be here, actually. Let's actually remove that from there. And inside our UL, let's do this. So what we'll do here actually is that we'll then change the background. From that, we'll make it top level. Oop. Okay, background blue. What was it? Was it 900? So background blue, 900. definitely having fun here. Oh, whoops. Might help if it's not all in the IDs. Man. And then each one, we can give it a, let's see here. I guess like the what underline, I think, what is it? Or oh gosh, what is it? Like a decorator, decoration or something like that of like, or border bottom. What is this? I can't remember off the top of my head. Something. All right. Apparently I can't tell when as off the top of my head as much as I thought I could. Let's take a look here. So there's that. We've made dinner. Cool, cool, cool. We've rendered that. That's cool. You know what? This is good for the time being. I'll go back and we'll have some more fun with this later. For now, we've rendered it. It looks moderately okay. I'll give it a border bottom because, why not? Yeah, border bottom. Essentially, just give it like I think 1 pixel, and then border gray. Is it GREY? There's like the English version and the American version. I think border gray. Let's just try 500 or something like that. Let's see what happens here. I don't know. Or gray. Mm. And we can take away this whole rounded. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, so I would do something like that then, I guess. Let's remove the test items. Or remove that there. Not pretty, but we'll make it look nicer later. So, all right. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and next up, we've now got all our items. Let's go ahead and just modify it. So, or better yet, let's go ahead next up after we render them. Let's go ahead and just do something like changing the to-do status essentially. So what we'll do here is there's 2 layers to it. So one, I need to actually like create the, the UI, right? To make sure you can do that by like having some sort of like radio or some sort of input, like a checkbox input. So we may end up having to refactor this LI here. Inside of that, encapsulated inside of it will more than likely be like an input with a type checkbox. Makes total sense. When we click it, we then should make an API call to that specific to-do list item. So we'll have to say, hey, when we click that input, what we'll do here is that we'll then like on click, we grab that, that specific item's ID, and we do some sort of put request, which would then we send, and we pretty much mark it like, hey, is it active or is it completed? One or the other, just changing it. And so we'll see. But yeah, that's essentially what I am going to do. So what we'll do here is I'm actually going to right under render to-do list. I'm just going to do a const. We're going to do change to do status. So what we'll do here then at that point is I keep looking over y'all. I'm looking at y'all, so trying to see if there's any comments and everything like that. And I also am just looking at myself, so it's weird. No, it's not weird. I love it though. I love it. But yeah, so what we'll do here is let's see here. So change status. So we'll do an async. Async. We'll want to pass in that ID, which will essentially just be a string. And then what we'll do here is that we'll do an await. We'll fetch this. So what we're going to fetch, we're going to do /API /to do list / and then at that point, I actually need to do a backtick. ID. And then once we have this here, what we'll do here is we'll then have our method. We've got to define our method. This method right here is going to be a put. The headers, content type, what was it? I think it's just content. Is it content hyphen type? I think it is. All right, NBM, let's take a look here. It is, okay, gotcha. So to content type. So content type, and this is essentially going to be what we're going to be passing it is uh, application slash JSON. And then inside of that, now that we have our headers, we have that there. We're gonna have to pass the body inside the body. We'll essentially have to stringify this. JSON.stringify, because we do have to stringify that. And then what we'll pass in here is the description. And I'll just have I'll just do to do just yeah, do some sort of placeholder like to do description goes here. And then the next one that we pass to is the status. And essentially what we'll have to do here is like we'll have to do some sort of find. So I'm trying to think here. So hmm, hmm. Mm, so what we may end up having to do, in fact, what we may end up doing here is now that I'm thinking through this, we'll have to go through our to-do list items that we have, and we'll have to find the so for each to do, what we want to say is like, hey, we want to find the ID. So the to do ID must be equal to the I guess we'll triple equals that to the ID we pass in essentially. Um, so it should be that. Uh, and then we get that description. That looks about right. That looks about right. And I think we want to do the same thing here. But the difference here when we find is that we actually want to do a ternary. So to do inside this to do, we're going to do the to do dot ID must equal that same ID that we have passed in here, right? But the difference here is when we do this, we're going to have our status, but we want to have some sort of like toggle. So, hey, if the status is active, then we want to set that to what is it? To complete it. So otherwise, it's just going to be active. So that looks about right. And I'm just again thinking about this. Let's see here. That's inside our body. Hmm. Yeah, that looks about right. Thinking this through, and then what we want to do afterwards. Then what we do here is we essentially have a response. We should, I guess, we should have a response. I think I should check the API. Let's see here. Response and then response JSON. At least there should be some sort of response that tells me like, hey, you know, it was successful or something like that. And then from there, eventually what we'll probably have to do is that we'll probably have to fetch the to-dos again. So we'll probably have to do some sort of like fetch to-do list essentially. And yeah, so there's that. So essentially what's happening here is we're inside change to-do status. So when we click this, whenever we do whenever we click that on the, or do some sort of event, right, on the front end, we're going to trigger this whole to-do status function. And it's going to pass in the ID. The ID that we have here is that we're going to pass that into the fetch. So we're going to, yeah, so inside there, yeah, we pass into the fetch. We then, again, it's a put method. So instead of a post, again, put, we're looking to update it. We're looking to update that specific, record. Again, we're going to be passing this in, like passing it JSON. So we have to define the content type. And then inside the body, we stringify it because we kind of have to. Then inside here, we're passing the description and the status. So yeah, so we find that description for that specific ID that we passed in, and then we find the status of the ID that we passed in. But what's interesting about this is that this is where the whole changing to do status. This is essentially where like this all happens. So again, we check to see like, hey, is the current status active? Because if it is active, then we want to change that to completed. And if it, you know, otherwise it's just going to be active, right? So if it is completed, be changed to active, right? So it's that little toggling. So that's how we're um, changing the to do status. I guess we'd call it toggle to do status, maybe. But yeah, it is what it is. We can always refactor that later. We can probably refactor this to make this look nicer too. But hey, done is better than perfect. So next up, what we'll do here is looking at this. Let's see if we have any comments. No comments so far. Okay. No more new comments. All right. All right. Cool. All right. So let's see here. So next up, let's go ahead and implement this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do something a little bit different. What I'm going to do is we're gonna have to I guess we'll have to parse this lovely to do item a bit. So not parse it. Sorry, we're gonna have to create it. I should use web components. Now let's not do that. Let's do this. So inside this list item, let's do a class. Go ahead and just create a class. I guess we could do an inline flex. How do I want to do this? So I guess inside of here, I guess I'll do a label. And inside that label, we're going to have our input. That input that we have there, I'm going to make sure I have that closed. Oop. Totally should have just enabled prettier. I think I need to re-enable that. We'll give it a type. Well, first off, we need to also give it an ID of check to do, and then we'll have to just have like that ID there. Again, we'll more than likely have this rendered. We're gonna have this rendered in the JavaScript actually, and all that. So, and then the type is going to be the checkbox, and then we're gonna have a class here. If I can think about this properly, how do I want to do this? We'll make it, I think we're gonna have to make this checkbox larger. We'll see. We'll see. And then cursor, just give it a pointer. What is it? I was like, okay, I wasn't sure if cursor pointer was it as like it should be. All right. And so now that we have that, our input, let's cut our span here. This is just going to be the test. I'll just call this test description for the time being inside our HTML class. If we'll have to do some sort of peer stuff. So I think let's do Tailwind CSS peer. Since peers, okay, yeah, here it is. So peer has checked hidden. I'll zoom into. Let me make sure y'all can see this. So wanting to essentially do something like this. So yeah, the whole peers thing. So as we can see, the SVG, if it has checked or whatever, it's hidden. Yeah, so nothing too crazy. Okay. So let's see here. Yep, use not. Okay, yeah, but this is essentially what I'm looking at. So, yep. Okay, yeah, this should work. This should be good. So, so what I'll do here, I guess, what I'll do is I'll say peer. Is it has checked? It says has checked, but what about peer checked? Okay, peer checked. Okay, yeah, if it's peer checked, let's do a text gray. I don't know, a text gray like 500, and then also not only is the text going to be 500, we're also going to do the line through. I think it's line through. It is line through. Okay. Thank you, Telvin. IntelliSense. And then we also have to here pointer. We'll have to do the let's see here. What is it? The cursor pointer. Peer. Let's just take a look here. Make sure I'm not going crazy. Okay, so that's there. Excuse how it does not. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and style that. Let's also, okay, so that's what it looks like there. Okay, great, wonderful. That is not the prettiest. So let's style this. So let's see here. So first order of business, we're gonna do a class of inline flex, or it should be inline flex. We're gonna make the items centered. And then once the items are centered, we're gonna give it a width of full, and then let's set a height. What would be ideal? What would be ideal, actually? 6? Nah. 10? Not bad. Not bad. We can start there. We can start there. And then a padding of 6. That's looking better. Okay, that's looking better. I feel like this probably this height needs to be. Let's do 12 there. And then the label itself. I feel like I'm double inline flexing. I could be wrong, y'all. This might be over excessive. Let's do this item center as well. With full, and then the cursor pointer, and then we also have that peer on the label. Okay. Okay. I think this should. Okay, we also want to have that margin right on there. So I think what that's going to put that margin right on the. Let's see if we have any comments over here. Let's see. Let's do that margin right on the input, the checkbox. So margin right 2, 3. We'll do it with 4. All right, and I know also the text needs to be white as well too. But here's what we'll do. We'll do. Wait, everything under this is. So yeah, all right. So now we have that whole. That's not bad. Maybe gray. That gray seems still a little bit too harsh. I mean, I guess it's probably a byproduct of having this blue background. We'll have to modify that, to be honest with you. Yeah. And so that blue, let's do a 500. What does that look like? Oof, that is not much better. Let's see what we can do here. Let's try to switch up this gray to something a little bit just more subtle. Let's see here. That's not bad. Let's see what gray 200 looks like. I like that. Okay. I mean, it's not bad. Doesn't look the prettiest, but hey, it works. It works. Let's run this side by side here. So I'm probably gonna have to just convert this into a whole. Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn this to its own template. So let's see here. So we have all of this here. So our li, we have this. This is probably the most like. Let's see here. So that's our li right there. Inline, and then let's do a. Let's see. I'll call this that's the list item. The li to do item node. That's what I'll call this. Probably not the most. There we go. Li to do item load. And we have that here. Then over li. Now what we need to do here is we need to create our input, our label. interesting. I actually think I might just end up creating a template. Let's be honest here. Yeah, let me just do that. I think it'll be so much easier if I do this. So I'm not gonna lie to you. So const to do item uh, li to do item. We'll just do this. Let's see, item to do here, and then we'll I guess template, and then we'll just backtick this. What I'll do here is this is going to be the list item template that we have here. We'll paste that here. More than likely, I might end up having to do some sort of, what is it? Okay, so one thing I think I know I'm definitely gonna have to do here, because this is essentially just a string. Yeah, see, I might have to actually do something like, what is it? Is it parse DOM? Parse DOM. There it is, DOM parser. So, okay, let's see here. So XML source code into it. Yep, a document object model. Yep, because it's going to have to be a node. Essentially, if I try to use this inside my application, it'll just essentially just be a string, and you can't assign a string to a node. So we'll do a, I'll just call the parser. I don't know how do I do this? I think it's a parser. I think it's like new DOM parser or something like that. Let me take a look. Yeah, parser. Is that it? Okay, I guess it's just by using the parse from string method. Okay. All right. Okay. I guess that's what I'll do here. So I guess I have to create the new, what is it? DOM parser. I have my template here. Let's just do this here. We have our item template. I know this is going to have to be per item. So to do item, so list item. So then from here, what I'll have to do is I'll have to do the const, create a constant, and let's see, the parsed to do list item. And I'm just having fun here. I'm loving this. And then we'll have to call the parser dot, oh, there it is, parse from string. And then I guess we have to pass that list item template there. Let me take a look at this real quick. Parse from string, and then, oh, I see the MIME type. So, and I think, what is that, oh, text HTML. So we'll have to do, hold up here actually. So syntax input is going to be that. So the input's going to be this list item template, and then the second one's a MIME type. So the MIME type specifies just parse a string. It's not XML, not XML, not SVG XML. It'll just be, yeah, text HTML. So we have that here. And what we're going to do here is, this should be it. I believe it is erroring out. Is it because I have this space? Okay, yeah, it was because I had this space. I was like, hold up, I think I'm, it's like I'm cooking. I know I'm doing all right here. Okay. Okay, yeah, let me try to, and I guess we would just return this parse to-do list item, essentially. So, oh, okay, I had some errors here. Oh, might help if I actually, okay, so let's try this out. Okay, let's take a look here. So let's save it now. Shouldn't error out. It does not. Okay, lovely. Okay, and I totally, that is the, okay, I totally messed up that whole camel casing here. But I don't think I'll need this anymore. So now that I've essentially created the template, I've parsed it. I think I don't need this. So I believe so. So let's take a look here. All right. Man, it's been a minute. All right, let's see here. DOM content loaded. I've got this. Let's see what we're looking at here, y'all. And right now that we have this, I'm spinning. We have this parsed. All right, so now that it's parsed, we've returned this parsed item. So now it's part of the document. And now that we have that, mm, 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 oh yeah, we want to go to the body of it or whatnot because let me see real quick. I think so. Take a look here. So description, parse from string, examples. Oh, okay. Defines a create HTML element. Okay. I see safe document dot body. Okay, so I see first child. So document does see beware of the tiger, beware of the leopard, HTML strings, that right there. Parsed, okay. So the first tag name would be circle. That's the SVG string. So that's doc2, okay. Doc3 would be body.firstchild.text content to get the content. So I don't want to just get the text content. I want to get the string of its entirety. So I actually want to do so that dot body dot first child. So dot body dot first child, and then we'll have to return that because that should be the HTML li element. So we should have that there. Boom. Okay, now that we have this, man, all right. This is fun. This is very fun. Now that we have this li to-do list item, let's go back to our renderer and let's take a look here. Oh man. Okay, so now that we have this whole render, we have this, and we have that li. We've got this. We've mapped through it. And then for each, what we'll do here is, let's do this. Let's do it to do, and then we'll have this list item equals the li to do item. And then we're passing in that specific to do item. I was like, and then what we'll do here at that point is that we'll then have to append it to that to do ul element. So, yeah, so we'll have to do something like a to do ul dot append. I think what append child it should be append child. Yeah, and then we'll have to just append that specific list item there. And then we should be able to dynamically render this. But what we did here too is that inside our li to do item, we have access to all that content. So if we go back here, we have our item here. Let's go ahead and uncheck some things. So where I had that test description, we can actually do this, or should be able to. It should be an item.description here. And we should inherently be able to, it should render. So I'm actually going to save this and save this. Make sure I'm not crazy. Okay, it is happening. It is there. It is working. Great. I love not using a framework. This is the best. All right, let's see here. And then that ID. We're going to also need that ID because each one needs to be unique. How do I want to do that? ID. Can you? Am I doing this right? I am. Okay, I am. I'm not crazy. Okay, I was like, hold up here. The double quotes got me, y'all. So item.id, and so that should work. Should. It should. And then yeah, I'm trying to think here. Hmm. Next up, what do I want to do here? Because in checkboxes, I think it's just checked and not checked. So what I'll probably want to do here is create another ternary. So I'll say the item dot status. If the item dot status equals not quad equals but triple equals, I really don't need triple equals, but we'll do that. Again, it's TypeScript, should be just fine. If it equals completed, then what we're going to do here is it should be checked, and if not, then it'll just be empty. So this should be good. Yeah. So okay, perfect. So I'm not. This is good. This is good. Okay. So if we go back here to our database here, what we'll see is that we have the whole make dinner, and that status is completed by default, right? So if we take a look here, we see that when we call. So if we take a look at our network call, we go here and we're able to take a look at this. We see that our status here is completed. So this one for testing the app is active, for make dinner is completed. Because it's completed, when we go through and we're saying, hey, you know what? Um, each one, again, this is the to do item, right? We're rendering each one, right? This is all that li, what it all looks like. The input has checked and not checked. This is just something that, or, input element checkbox, like the checkbox input element, right? So if it's checked, um, it'll essentially have it checked by default. So we check to say, hey, if the status of this item is completed, then we want to go ahead and apply the checked attribute to this input. Uh, and we see that that's exactly the case, right? This item here, when we initially get it, the status of it is completed and it is checked. So we have that. Did a whole lot here just for that bit right there, y'all. Okay. The joy of I love this. Just writing. As I said, frameworks obfuscate so much. Um, from when you're building on applications, and it's fun. I love it. So yeah, let's continue. Let's go ahead and continue. All right. So what we have here, let's change to do status. So now at this point, we can finally change the to do status. All right, y'all. So this is what we're gonna do. All right. So the first bit is, in order for us to even like call this, right? We need to actually we need to like add that stuff here. So what we need to do here is we have our ID called check to do item. Great, wonderful. We pretty much want to say, hey, and we're gonna add this event listener to each one. So const. Actually, I don't even think we need that. Let's see here. We need to do a so for this parsed list item that we have here, parse to do list item equals or we're going to do a query selector. So we're going to select inside of this the what was it, the I think it's like the checked check to do oh there we go. And then I guess I'll have to backtick this. Or I'll just do this. Should be good. So what we're doing here is saying, hey, we want to go inside a query selector. We want to get this specific ID, like, the item itself, that ID. And when we do, we want to do an event. We want to add an event listener. So on this event, the event listener essentially that we want, let's see, what's that area here? Argument listener was not provided. Okay, that'll be all right. We want to look at the, no, hold up. Okay, hold up. Now we know it's there. Change, yeah. Okay, it's got one. It's expecting two. We'll just do this for the time being, real quick. So, yeah, that solves it. Okay, gotcha. Um, yeah. So essentially, we're gonna for that to do item for this specific item, we want to look for the for the input, right? The checked to do item or to do ID. We want to check for the change event. And so when we check for the change event, now what we want to do at this point is we want to actually call that change. Where is it at? What was it? Was it toggle to do status? Change to do status. Okay. Change to do status. So, and then we're going to pass in that item dot ID. So, I see. Yeah. So let me bring that inside of our content loaded here. So give me 1 second, y'all. I guess we'll set this right under that fetch. We render our to-dos. Actually, let's do it under render. No, it's a template, so we'll need that template. So the is it item? Let's see here. Change to-do status. We only need the ID, but type string is not assignable to type string. Whoops. Okay, so yeah, silly mistake. All right, so now that we have that, we've now officially, um, yeah. So now that we have that again, yeah, it was simple casing. I guess that was from when I did the whole schema, uppercase string, lowercase string. So TypeScript and schema, the GraphQL, yeah, sorry. Let's see here. So now that we have this, so anytime now at this point, so what we're going to do inside each to-do item, if we want it to, we're going to list for that change event for that in that specific input. And so that should all be there. And what we're going to do here at this point is that we're then going to toggle, or we're going to call this whole change to-do status. And so we pass in the item ID. Wonderful. We then call this. And so this inherently, in theory, y'all, this should work. It should work. Okay. So it should work. So I think we fetched the to-do list, but I think we also need to like render it again. But we're just gonna test this out and see if this works. And if it doesn't, we just have to make some changes. Okay, y'all. But actually, let me see this real quick. Actually, let me see render to-do list. Let's just go ahead and what was it called? To-do list items. So we'll just render this. All right, let's do this. All right, let's make sure I'm not too crazy. See if this works. All right, so make dinner is checked. Okay, we've now called our API here. Boom, it is now active. Okay, so we pass that payload. And if we take a look at our backend now, we see that on our database, it's also active. So it works. And it also updated our UI as well too, because we fetched like the newer stuff. And then we also like re-rendered it. So if we refresh, boom, make dinner is now not completed. It is an active task that I have to do, which I definitely have to. And like, as soon as I get off of work today. And so there's that same thing with things here. This right here, boom, complete it. We go to the backend now. We see that the status here is also changed to complete it and also to complete it. So this is good, y'all. So at this point, what we've utilized two APIs. We've utilized the get for the to-do list, which is getting all our to-do list items. And now at this point as well, too, we then utilize the to-do list ID, but the put, which allows us to be able to create or update the record with pretty much update that record, right? And this is all, again, dynamically generated from like our GraphQL schema that we have that we had defined, again, right here. So we defined that. Harper just automatically generated all these REST API endpoints, which is wonderful, and we didn't have to worry about anything whatsoever. So this is fun, and so far, again, this is all in vanilla JavaScript, so we aren't going through and using React or Angular or Vue, which are all amazing frameworks, by the way, y'all. Love them all, but just wanted to do this in vanilla JavaScript. Just yeah. So I'll say framework free. We just want to do this framework free, right? Outside of Tailwind, which is our lovely utility CSS like library, which makes styling a lot easier. So, and you can take a look too. Again, our only dependencies are TypeScript. Dev dependencies are TypeScript and Vite, and the actual dependencies just Tailwind, and that's it. So, yeah, as I said, that's primarily it for the most part. We can, however, if y'all want to, again, we've updated it. I think it's only fair that we can also delete. So I'll do this, and then once we're able to delete one, I'll end this. I'll end the stream and everything. So I guess, well, I guess actually we need to add a to do. So let's do that real quick, y'all. Let's do that actually. Let's do adding a to do, and then yeah, let's go ahead and do that real quick. So this is what I'll do here. So we'll go inside here, this header. We'll we have that. Wonderful. We'll create like some sort of simple form or something along those lines. Let's do a. Actually, should it be here? No, it should not. It should be another section. Or should it be? Hmm. We'll do this. Create another div because why not? Divs. All right, and then we'll create a form inside this div. This form, we're going to call this the. We're going to give an ID of add to do item. To do item, not time, item form. And inside this form, what we'll do here is that we'll have this input. This input's going to be a type text. The ID is going to be the new to do item. And then we'll have a placeholder of create or add your new to do. Oh, might help if we close the input. And I guess we have to style it. Yeah, let's style it. Okay, so I've got this here. We'll give it a class. Let's see, the width is going to have to be full. The height, what was the height of the, let's see, what was the other height that we had for our list items? 12, okay. Height is going to be 12. And then from there, I think our, what was the padding as well too? PX, you know, we're just going to take from here. All right, and I'm pretty sure I want to take the rest of this as well too. Maybe. Now we'll just keep it as is. We'll keep it as is, y'all. Let's see any comments. All right. Okay. And so from here, now that we have this, let's go ahead and set the background to. That's right. Let's set it to blue, I guess. Let's do the same thing as blue. What was that background? I'm pretty sure. Where is it? It is right here. It is right there. So inside the UL. Let's see here. Background is going to be blue as well. And the text, anything here inside this form, I'm going to give this form a class of text. White. Honestly, it might be best just to have the entirety of. Yeah, I should be just, yeah. We'll do that. Not bad. Let's see here. For the sake of this as well too, it should be, let's see, block. No. Okay, I forgot. Can I do like a, I think it's like flex column, no? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong on this one. Let's see here. Flex column. CSS is my best friend, but also my worst enemy at times. I think so. Let's try this. Actually, let's see. Let's do this here. So I don't think we need to actually do any more flexing and stuff like that. Let's see. Width full, and then I think it was like 96. I think it was max width 96. I probably can have this all encapsulated inside something. So there's a lot of refactoring that could be done. Let's be honest here. Inside this section, I don't want to do block. Let's do a let's justify center. Yeah, we have a flex column, but I don't think that actually I don't solves the, for the we'll play with that later. I'll have to, I can deal with CSS at a later point. Actually, I definitely want to solve this, but let's see here. So All right. Let's see. Any comments? How's everyone doing? All right. So let's take a look here. So add your new to do. This is great. So we've got our input here. We've got our new to do. Let's take a look at comments over here from different. Okay. So take a look at the chat. Give me 1 second. Cool. Cool. All right. All right. So y'all doing okay? All right. Okay. So let's see. Let's see here. So I'm like always looking over for the chat, y'all. So feel free to type anything if y'all want. No worries. It's all good vibes and coding, having fun. So here's that. So yeah. So now that we have this, y'all, we're gonna do here is yeah, I'm just gonna do the whole yeah. So flex, justify, align center, blah blah blah. That's that. Yeah, this should be perfectly fine here. In our UL, we have our width here. Let's actually add a little something too. We should have a shadow as well. Something make this a little bit nice as well too. And then what I'll do here is I'm actually just going to go ahead and do this. Let's just move this for the time being. Oh, whoops. Let's move that out of this. And let's have it in its own section. I just feel as though these should have their own sections. That's just me though. These should be their own sections. I think so. Could be wrong here. Could be wrong, but I do think they should be their own sections. And then what we'll do here is that we'll then have a margin bottom of like 8 as well, something like that. And then we'll give it a, let's see here for this form. What is that placeholder? The background's blue. Let's move that up a little. Actually, no, we can leave that there. Actually, no, we're going to put that on the section itself. Oh. Let's see how that turns out here. Okay, yeah, no, we're going to just leave that be. I knew that was going to be the case. We're just going to give it a round, I think rounded, just medium or something like that. Nothing too crazy. Okay, great. Wonderful. Yeah, this works. Placeholder. I think the placeholder text, I think I just do placeholder text line as well too. Wonderful. Cool. Great. Nothing too crazy. Great. Instead of a margin bar, we should do it MY. And we'll do 6 here. Oop. Wonderful. Now that we have this, let's go ahead and just, yeah, let's just go back here. Take a look here. Yeah. Comments. Y'all there? Are y'all there? Okay. Sweet. And at this point, y'all, we're just going to go ahead and just create another function here. So we have our change to do status. That's great. Do something relatively like, or we're going to do something like the same thing pretty much. Instead of that, we're going to do like a add to do item. Yeah, so add to do item. What we'll do here is that we'll just have the new item text, or I just said new item text. We'll just call it new text or something like that, or to do text. To do text, that'll be a string. And then what we'll do here is this will have to be asynchronous. So same thing as last time. We were actually just going to go ahead and call this. So let's see, await fetch the API. API/to-do list. And then at that point, we really don't need to backtick this. Then at that point, this is actually going to be a post. So if we want to add an item to our to our to-do list, we need to use this right here. Okay, so we'll have to pass in an ID, a status, and also a description. Let's do that. Okay. Although we actually I don't think we need to pass in an ID because Harper dynamically generates that for us. So our method, it's going to be a post, and this post is again going to be directly on the table, right? Because we're adding an item to the table. Um, Header, again, it's going to be, I'm actually totally going to copy this. Headers, application JSON. And then from here, we're going to stringify this as well. And we're going to do the same thing. So I'm actually just going to take this, and what we'll do here is we'll do to-do text. That's what was passed. And then the status by default, it's just going to be active. So that is what we're going to have here, y'all. And then we should expect a response, right? We should expect a response. And so for this to-do item, once we have this, what we'll do here, y'all, is we'll then, let's see here. So that's the fetch. And then on here, then afterwards, we should expect a response. Response.json is what we should get in return. And then after that, what we'll do here, we'll have to fetch the to-do list again. We'll then have to render the to-do list from the to-do list items. So and now at this point, we need to add, we need to actually append or pretty much have this this add to do item. We need to have that called under an event listener. So what we'll do here is we're going to go back, and I think, yeah, so the form, we have our form here. So I guess we can call the form itself. The form should have everything we need. So this is what I'll do. Let's go here. We have this. Let me call const add to do item, add to do form, or new to do form. It's add to do form. What is it called? Oh, add to do item form. Document dot not get element. We'll do query selector, and then is the add to do item form, and then we'll have this as a HTML form element essentially. So HTML form element. And so now that we have this as our HTML form element, let's see here. We want to add an event listener to the form. So what we can do, I guess we listen for the, let's do this because, trying to do this whole, like trying to grab the ID or whatever. I mean, I want the form to work for me, right? So let's do, what was it? It was the add to do item form dot add event listener. And let's see, I think it should be submit, no? Let's see, I think let's see here. Let's take a look here. Input, no, we're not looking for input. We're looking for, pointer up. I have not used pointer up before. Let's see here. Select and change, slot change. Oh, slot change, huh? Oh, submit. Okay, yeah, so submit. So we're looking for the submit event. We'll call this event, I think it's like a form event. I think it is. Is it form event? Let's see if it let's see if it'll infer it for me. So event dot prevent default because we don't want our page to refresh. We don't want to have that default behavior there. Um, and then I think we can get. I feel like this is excessive, but I'm pretty positive we can get our input from our form. So if we go to the add to do item dot form, hold up here. I'm almost positive I've done this before. Um, Instead of just doing a whole add event listener on that input, that's very JavaScript excessive. So let's see, get input um, form AI mode. No, not interested. All right. Like I really don't want to. Yeah, I want to leverage what I've already called. Because I think I can do like a form dot as in like target. Um, uh, is it dot elements? I think it is. Something like that. Get all elements inside a form. Let's see here. My form. Yeah, my form dot elements. So we can do that. Okay, gotcha. Cool, 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 cool. I mean, I could do like the doc. Oh, yeah. Let's see, access elements property to get all the form controls. So we could do that. Let's do that. So what we'll do here is const. I'll call this the form elements, and then equals add to do item dot form dot elements. Let's just actually take a look at what that looks like. Let's take a look here. So input. So what I'll need to do here, I mean, I could get it. Okay, so I could access the initial one. So I could do probably like elements, I'm assuming 0 to access that. So if I do that again, sweet, I've gotten the form element at that point. So, or the input element. So let me see what happens when I do that. Do I also get the, okay, dot value? Maybe dot value. Of course, it's not going to exist on elements, but if I do this, boom, all right, I do get it. Wonderful. Yeah, I didn't want to just didn't want to be excessive with my JavaScript. So what we'll do here is, I do know that this is, I'll have to do like an as, yeah. So what I'll have to do here is that I think I have to do like an as HTML input element or something like that. Yeah, so this is what we'll do here. So form input element, we'll have that, and then we'll have this as HTML input element. And then from there, what we'll do here is that we'll have the dot value. So then we should be able to just log the value, form input element dot value at that point. And so when we console log this out now, boom, we get that. So now that we've done this, we can go ahead and on submit, we're actually going to call the add to do item. And I think we're just passing in like, yeah, just a string. So we're just passing in this and we're good. And let's try it. Hold up now. I did not re-render this properly. So, all right, let's do this. Well, before we even do this too, I also want to do a, let me do this real quick. So const, I'll call this the to do text equals, was it the input formula dot value, and then we're gonna trim it actually. And then I also want to do some sort of validation here. So if the to do text or whatever that we have there, as long as it's not equal to this, what we'll do here is we'll then just call our add to do item, and we'll pass in that to do text. And then after that, what we'll do here is that we'll set the form input element. We'll set that value back to 0 or empty, an empty string. So if we do this again, okay, so then yeah, I'm doing something wrong here with the whole rendering, I think. That's okay. I'll go ahead and take care of that real quick. Let me see if I can figure this one out. So we've got this. Let's go to our add to do. What happens when I do this? Okay, wonderful. Let's fetch our to-dos then at this point. Okay, so let's fetch to-dos. That is what's happening there. Ah, lovely bugs. Wonderful. Okay, so I think it has to do with my, let me look at my fetch to do here. So let's see here. So I see my fetch to do. I technically am also, I mean, I am rendering it. So I don't really need to, I'm totally like triple rendering here. So what I'll do here is, um, okay, so I see what I did wrong there. So let's got our render to do list. Where's that all being called here? We're having that render list to do list items. That is an array of to dos. I don't think that's being called anymore. I can actually just remove this. That's very, but I see what I'm doing wrong here. Okay. I definitely see what I'm doing wrong. So, but before I do that, let me, yeah, so I see what I'm doing wrong. Or at least I believe I do. So in our render to-do list, essentially what's happening is I'm actually not utilizing this right here. So this should be to do. I should, I think this should inherently fix it. Yes, do item. This should fix it, I think. Okay, so let's take a look here. Mapping through item. We're going. Let's see here. I think what I need to do here is I need to set this to, we have this. Now what I'll do here is actually set the to-do URL most item or to-do, let's see, URL element. Elements, the now we'll set this, I think, to, let's try this. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens here. Okay, that's what it is. Yep. I had to clear it. So, all right, wonderful. We have all of these items. I'm going to go ahead and just, for the sake of things, I'm going to go ahead and just delete several of these. Delete, 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 and delete. All right, wonderful. Refresh, we've got this. Now we have our testing, and we now successfully added our to-do items, which is wonderful. So yeah. So yeah, we've now gotten our items. We've now changed the status of our items, and we've also, yeah, we've retrieved them from our table. We've modified the status of them from our table, and we've also added new items to our table. Yeah, that is it. This was awesome, and I hope you all enjoy this live stream. Again, actually, no, next week's Thanksgiving, but the week after, we'll go through. We're going to add deleting, and then also after that, we may actually try to do some real time stuff. So, thank you, y'all. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you.